Hetepu and greetings. My name is Numsau, and I'm here to share with you some African sciences from a couple different points of views. From a martial arts point of view, there are brothers and sisters out there doing African martial arts or claiming to be doing African martial arts. And some are real and some aren't. Some are just African people doing martial arts and claiming it to be African martial arts without knowing the roots or the foundation of the art that they are practicing, and not having the foundation to go along with it as well. In 1992, I wrote this book called The Egyptian Science of Self-Defense. And I started using a term that was African martial arts and sciences. Because one is male and one is female. You must have the male and female energy to create anything of life. And when I say male and female energy, I'm not talking about the sex. I'm actually talking about the energy. There's a big difference. But it's a science that has to be studied. So those that are just practicing martial arts are incomplete. They don't have the science then. I was taught from the point of view that if you learn the destruction side, you must also have the healing side. So if you break a man's arm, you should know how to heal the man's arm. Now that takes us into the science of healing. Especially for African people, it's natural healing, holistic healing. And the word is holistic because you find the word holy in there, so holistic. About 8 or 7 years ago, I wrote this book, The Naked Truth of Holistic Health. One of the problems we're having with holistic health or alternative practices is that many people are out there trying to use that science, but they are practicing from an allopathic mythology. Therefore, it's not nearly being as effective as it should be. In some cases, it's even giving natural medicine a bad name. It needs to be publicized more, it needs to be marketed better, especially to African people. But the science of it needs to be taught correctly. You need to understand what it is you're actually dealing with before you give people something to have for that particular problem. Another aspect that we face is the African psychology of things, especially in our relationships. We are trying to have African relationships using European ideals, therefore they don't work. And we find ourselves at odds with each other sometimes. And what is really occurring is that we are hating the European behavior in each other. So it's not each other that we start disliking when relationships go bad. It's the behavior that we start disliking. And that behavior is not African grounded at all. The African principles of a relationship have probably not been taught in over 2,000 years. Let me go back just a little bit so I can make sure that we all are on the same page. The terms white and black are modern day terms. White people never called themselves white no more than we ever called ourselves black. So I always use the term African and Europeans for the most part. Because on the slave ship, there were no Jamaicans, there were no West Indians, nobody from Barbados, no Barbadians. There were Africans, and that's who we are. And many times we want to pay respect and acknowledge our ancestors, and we don't even acknowledge our own African self. So how can you acknowledge and pay respect to that when you haven't taken care of self first? That's perpetuating a falsehood for the most part. And we need to wake up about these things. There are plenty of African organizations, so to speak, out there trying to enhance us as a people, provide education for us from different points of views. Basically, the problem is we have way too many. At some point in time, we need to learn how to unite these organizations. We need to learn how to become a conglomerate. We need to learn how to do it from a business point of view if we're going to actually provide resources to our people on a national or international level. With too many small organizations, they can't do it. It's just too many. And for the most part, a lot of that exists because we haven't gotten beyond our egos. And there's enough money to go around for everybody, trust me. And we need to be supporting each other so that we can bring our own wealth together, as opposed to this separatism thing attitude that we have adopted, which just comes from the I. People not even understanding what the I am represents as they delve into these different cults, religions, and so forth, which is another aspect that we've become unhealthy in, and that is our religion. Christianity, Judaism, Islam, they're modern day religions. None of them existed beyond 2,000 years. When we live on a planet that's over 1 million years old, are you kidding me? What kind of God do you serve? And when you look in the mirror, if the God you serve don't look like you, you're serving the wrong God. And maybe I shouldn't even use that term, because God is more of a title as opposed to the creator. The gods were titles given to men and women who had acquired certain aspects, and that's what the deities represent. Acquiring the aspects so that you can uplift yourself. Not get into this thing of controlling one aspect of yourself and not controlling another aspect, or subduing your lower nature and blah blah blah. Those are the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You are a whole person. The idea is to learn how to balance with the whole you. This is what was given to you. There's nothing to be suppressed. It's about how to balance and be enhanced. And this is the path that we should be on. Unfortunately, these are lectures that take quite a bit of time. And each one of the subject matters that I spoke on is a lecture within itself. But one of the things that I really love the most is the martial arts and science aspect, and then the holistic health part of it as well. I thank you for listening to this part. We're going to show you some demonstrations of some of the martial art and science aspect of it, so you can see for yourself what it should look like and understand what these titles represent that various people have. So this portion of the video, I will say, Asante Sana.